This is Nikki here from Futurpreneur. Can you just give me a quick yes in the chat box if you can hear me? I want to make sure that my audio is working correctly. So if you can hear me, perfect. Thank you so much, Melody. I appreciate it. All right, we've got just a minute until we start. So I'm actually just going to mute myself while I figure out how to share my screen, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm on the West Coast, so it's 12:30 p.m. PST for me here. I can see we've got some people joining the call today, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I think you can see my screen, which is fantastic. I'm just trying to figure out how to toggle between my slides now, while I can also see the chat box. So bear with me just a moment while I figure this out. Okay, if I toggle, here we go. I think I figured it out. All right, thank you for, the patience. Learning a new platform, hop in. Dwania, thank you so much for saying you can see my screen. All right, let's kick this off then. So you are at a session called Financing for the Future with myself. I represent an organization called Futurepreneur Canada. Hi, Sutanya. Hi, Ivana, sorry. And hi, Melody. Thank you for joining. If you wanted to pop into the chat, a quick hi. Hi, Candace. I loved your session before. Thank you so much for sharing all of your tips on influencer marketing. Hi, Melody. It's so lovely to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining. So today we're going to be talking about financing for the future. So some tips on how you can leverage external financing to grow and build and scale your business. And so we've got 30 minutes in this session. I'll take you through a little bit of it now. But what I wanted to really try and see whether we could do was to make this session as engaging and as lively as possible. So I love that everyone's already typing into the chat. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do is, while I go through the presentation, I'm going to be asking a few questions. You'll see the questions pop up in the slides. And to any of the questions, I'll give a little bit of time for you to think about your answer to the question. But when you do have the answer to the question, or when you think you have a bit of an answer, pop it into the chat box, and we'll really try and keep this session as engaging and as important to you as possible. So would love to see those answers kind of popping up in the chat for everyone that's joining us today. And I can see we've got 14 people here, which is fantastic. Okay, so before I dive into things a little bit too deeply, I just wanted to pause and acknowledge the traditional and unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations that I live on today. It's really important for us at Futurepreneur to pause and to acknowledge the traditional territories on which we live, work, and play. And I would encourage you, if you don't know the traditional territories that you're on, to use a fantastic website. It's called native-land.ca. I think Melody popped it into the chat a little bit earlier on in this call in the welcome session, but it's a fantastic tool to learn about the traditional territories on which you are situated. So if you don't know, look at native-land.ca, and you'll be able to find out where you're located. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Nicola, or you can call me Nikki. I usually go by Nikki. I'm a business development manager at Futurepreneur Canada. So myself and my background, I have been an entrepreneur before myself in the past. So I know all about what it takes to build and grow a business. I am originally Australian, so I grew up in Australia, down under. You can probably tell by my accent. But I have been living here in Canada and working for Futurepreneur now for the past 3 years. And it's really a passion of mine to help young entrepreneurs start and grow and launch their businesses. Previously, I mentioned that I was an entrepreneur myself. I started a consulting agency that focused on gender equity, achieving gender equity across the Southeast Asia region. So I used to live in Bangkok, Thailand, before I moved to Canada. And there were a lot of pain points with my own business model, and kind of in running my own business in Thailand and across Southeast Asia, I really kind of tapped into the startup entrepreneurial ecosystem there. So when I moved to Canada, I was again really passionate about this entrepreneurship space and about helping entrepreneurs to build successful and sustainable business models for your businesses to grow and thrive. And so that's how I ended up with Futurepreneur. So a little bit about Futurepreneur. We are a national nonprofit organization that helps young entrepreneurs to grow successful businesses. And the way that we do this is particularly with financing and mentorship. So our financing and mentorship programs are again designed for young entrepreneurs aged between 18 to 39. The financing comes in the form of a business loan. So we loan out anywhere between a minimum of $5,000 worth of business loans up to a maximum of $60,000 worth of business loans. And we work really closely with our partners BDC. And I can see Brooke Gordon here in the chat. She's saying she works for BDC, supporting women entrepreneurs across Canada. We have a fantastic relationship and always have had at Futurepreneur with BDC, where our financing programs, part of our financing programs are backed by BDC. So we love that relationship. So the financing component is one part of the programs that we run at Futurepreneur. It goes hand in hand, and what is quite unique about Futurepreneur's programs is that it goes hand in hand with a mentorship component as well. So every entrepreneur that comes through and applies for financing with Futurepreneur for your business is then matched with a mentor, and that business mentor will help to work with you and the business for the next 2 years of operations. So you've really got someone there in your court to help you as your business starts growing, as your business starts scaling, as you launch your business and start selling your products and services. You've got that guidance and that experience of a mentor to help you as you grow. So that's really what Futurepreneur is all about, this combination of financing and mentorship in our programs. We do have a whole range of I kind of call it our educational arm of what we do at Futurepreneur. So things like cash flow projection templates, free workshops that we run constantly on business planning and cash flow projections, and a lot of resources around money management and how to leverage financing, which is what we're going to talk about in this workshop, for your business to really make sure that you've got the finance and the capital that you need to take your business to the next level. So that's Futurepreneur. So this workshop is all about kind of, again, leveraging financing, making financing work for you and your business. But I wanted to just pause and ask and see if you can guess. And this is where I want that engagement in the chat. So open up your chat box and give me a bit of an answer to this question, or the first thing that you think of when you read this question on the screen. And that question is, what is one of the most common reasons small businesses fail? There's a lot of small businesses in Canada. You know, I think 80 to 90% of the economy is actually built of small businesses. So we're really focused on small businesses as an Canadian economy. But what is one of the most common reasons you think that small businesses can fail? I'd love to hear some of your answers in the comments if you know. So Candace says lack of financing to build long-term growth. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Candace, for that. Yusa says cash flow problems. Candace also says also lack of business planning and writing it down. So this is interesting. Making sure that you have a strategy for your business in the form of a business plan. Dwania says poor planning maybe is one of the reasons that most small businesses fail. I love all of these answers. Combination of all of them, I would agree, are some of the key reasons. But what we see at Futurpreneur is simply that they run out of money. So Candice, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You said you hit the nail on the head. This is a session about financing, of course. So I think it kind of gave it away a little bit. But simply, we see one of the biggest reasons that entrepreneurs and small businesses fail or can fail is simply that they run out of money, right? And sometimes this is hard to understand for entrepreneurs, especially when they see a new business open, they're doing really well, they've built a fantastic community on social, they're selling, they've got a high, they're selling a lot of products and services, maybe they're a physical store and they've got clients lining up out the door to get in, they're selling a lot of products. It looks from the outside that they are really successful, but if you look closely at some of their financial projections and some of their cash flow problems, sometimes I just noticed the chat, and Candice says, I hate that I am right on that. And it's painful to know that behind all of the success sometimes that we see on the outside for small businesses, that sometimes they're selling a lot of products and services, but their expenses are also so high, right? So they're selling a lot, but their expenses are also really, really high. So there's only this really small margin for error, or if something happens, right? And so say like we're talking about a coffee shop, a really successful coffee shop. They're selling tons of coffees. This is their revenue. They're selling tons of coffees. They're selling tons of pastries every day. Customers love it. But if they're and what often happens in the food and beverage industry is that, yes, their expenses are really high. So this profit margin is quite low, meaning their expenses are a lot higher. And so what happens if their coffee machine breaks suddenly, right? Suddenly their expenses are going to jump right up. There'll need to be a whole ton of expenses to fix their coffee machine. And maybe if they don't have enough working capital in their business bank account, and I'll talk a little bit about working capital, what working capital means, but if they don't have enough working capital, if they don't have enough cushion in their business bank account to be able to pay for these expenses of fixing their coffee machine, which is really key, and I think we can all agree is really key and integral to a successful cafe, then they're in trouble. And that's sometimes, and a lot of the reasons why small businesses can fail is that they run out of money. So as I mentioned previously, working capital is key. And simply, I mean, there's so many different definitions to what working capital is, but the one that I find, and not being a finance person myself, but the one that I find is the easiest to kind of understand and comprehend is working capital is the cushion in your business bank account. Between your business bank account being at zero and essentially how much funding you have in your business bank account, the cash that you have in your business bank account. So for working capital, what we, as a general rule for businesses, for small businesses, is that we ask you to add up all of your expenses on a monthly basis. And then we say in your business bank account, your working capital, so how much money should be in your business bank account, should at least be 3 to 4 months worth of your monthly expenses. So if I'm just making it up here, but if 1 month your expenses are $5,000 every month, those are your expenses as a business, you should have around 20 grand in your business bank account as working capital. And working capital, again, is just this cushion in your business bank account that you can have in case something goes wrong, right? To be able to leverage back into your business. So where does working capital come from? It can come from a number of different places. There are a few pieces on the screen here. It could be from savings. You could have working capital from your savings account. This is often what we call bootstrapped businesses. So businesses that are funded by the savings of the entrepreneur behind it. Loans are there, but you can have working capital that comes out of loans, crowdfunding, and there's going to be a workshop a little bit later on how to successfully crowdfund for your business. Friends and family, maybe you have some some friends and family that are willing to invest in your business. Investors, outside external investors, is the final one here. I'm not sure whether any of you in the audience are pitching to investors or are thinking about opening up your business to investors, but having external investors come in and pump some capital into your business is always really, really key for a select type of businesses, select type of business types. I would say, like, not all business types are a good fit for external investors, but a lot, especially in the tech industry, a lot of external investors, that is often the way that tech businesses and tech companies will raise capital, is through external investors. The other, so switching gears here a little bit, like I started off by just saying that, you know, it's so important to have a working capital in your business bank account as a business. Firstly, when you launch your business, so when you start operating and start running your business, is really key to have enough capital in your business bank account so that you're able to open doors, whether they're virtual or on your e-commerce online store, and that you're able to start generating that revenue. You start making sales to your business, to your customers, and you're able to continue creating those sales and continue investing in product so that you're then able to continue selling it along, right? So it's really, really important, like when you do launch your business, is if your business is at that very early stage, that you capitalize it right at the very beginning stages so that you're able to start launching and growing successfully. And that should your business be really, really successful at the beginning, once you launch it, maybe you've taken a lot of Candace's tips into account and you've done a launch campaign and you've collaborated with some digital influencers on getting your products out into market. When you launch, hopefully there's a bit of buzz around your business and your products are flying off the shelves. You need to have enough working capital there to be able to then reinvest in new products, in more products, so that you're able to continue restocking, right? And you're able to continue that growth once you launch. So it's really important to have that working capital and enough capital in your bank account once you launch. But then the other side of needing capital and leveraging capital for your business is once your business has started operating and once you've got your products and services out into the market, then to be able to take your business to the next level. This is where external financing can also be used really strategically to get your business to that next level. Okay, so say, for example, maybe you've been operating as a business for, say, 6 months or 1 year, or maybe a year and a half, or maybe somewhere around 2 years, right? So you've been operating, you've been out in the market, you've been selling your products and services. You're understanding all of the pain points of your business. You're reordering your products. You've got a little bit of working capital in your bank account, and you're comfortable with where your business is, right? But you know that to take your business to the next level, to get that contract with a distributor to be able to distribute your products into shelves like Whole Foods or London Drugs, or be able to make your products go to that next level. This is where also we see entrepreneurs turning to needing funding and needing capital from external sources. Again, like investors, business loans, friends and family, if they have some money to be able to put into your business and to help you get your business to that next level, or maybe some of your personal savings that you have, or crowdfunding, again, as we talked about earlier on. So getting your business to that next level and leveraging that external financing so that you know that if you invest in that extra machinery, or if you invest in kind of taking on a partnership with a distributor, that you know that financing is that investment that you might need to outlay initially to take your business to the next level is going to pay off, right? Because you've done all that hard work already for your business in the first year or 6 months or 2 years that you've been operating. And now is the time to take it to that next level. And you might need a little bit of external funding or capital to be able to do that. So to illustrate kind of my point around that, I'm going to give you a few examples. Maybe some examples that you might know or are familiar with, but who has heard of Smart Sweets? Have you eaten Smart Sweets before? They're everywhere now. Pop in the chat if you know about Smart Sweets. If you don't, then go into London Drugs. Candace says she's heard of them but haven't bought them. She's seen them a lot. Ivana says yes. So Smart Sweets is a gummy bear. It's a candy company, and it was launched by this entrepreneur, Tara Bosch. It was launched about maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, and it was launched as a really small company, just making these candies out of her home kitchen, right? And her idea behind making these candies was all about kind of cutting sugar. She wanted to reduce the amount of sugar that candies have. She didn't like parents going out and buying buckets of candy that had so much sugar in them, but she really, really loved candy herself, and she thought there's got to be a way to make candy that is lower in sugar content but still tastes great. So she developed this product herself, a lot of testing in her own personal kitchen, and she launched her product at local farmers markets and at local kind of conventions around the city. And she went out and created little test packets and gave it out to people on the street. And she was doing the hard work. She was selling her products, and everyone who bought them loved them, wanted different SKUs. She started off with gummy bears, as you can see in the picture. Now she has I don't know how many different SKUs, but she's got sour worms. She's got all of the traditional yummy candies that we love, just in lower sugar content. So she kind of hit the point where she'd been operating her business for about 6 months. People were loving her products. They were purchasing online from her, but she had this goal of wanting to get into Whole Foods. She really wanted to see her products on the stores, on the shelves of Whole Foods, and Whole Foods was her dream. And then, of course, she wanted to kind of build out from there, but Whole Foods was the first one that she really, really wanted to crack. And so she'd been building this relationship with a buyer at Whole Foods for a long time. She'd been giving them sample products. They'd been testing them and were curious about her product, but they were not yet interested in stocking it on their shelves. They kind of kept saying to her, come back, this is not the right time yet, until she had another meeting with the buyer, and they said, look, you know what, we're going to take a chance. We're going to order a test run of your products, and when we order a test run, we'll put them on the shelves. We'll put them on the shelves for a week or 2 weeks. They gave her some sort of timeline. They said, we're going to put them on the shelves for a week or 2 weeks, and we'll see how they sell. If they sell really well, if they sell out, then we will stock them in our store. And we'll write a contract with you to stock them in our store. If they don't sell so well, then we'll come back to the drawing board and figure it out. Okay. So it's at that point that we at Futurepreneur met Tara, because she came to us and said, look, I have this amazing opportunity to create a test batch for Whole Foods. And to be able to do that, I need to be manufacturing these candies in a bigger facility. She needed a crazy amount of product to be able to fulfill that test order for Whole Foods. And she said too, if the test order goes well, then I'm going to be needing to grow and scale up pretty fast, because they will want to stock me on their shelves. So she came through Futurepreneur's program at that time. We funded her $60,000. She put that funding into a new manufacturing studio, not studio, but plant. What is the right name for it? A new manufacturer. She took on a new manufacturer where she was able to make a lot more product. She fulfilled the test run at Whole Foods, and then the test run went really, really well, and Whole Foods then wrote a contract with her to stock her products in their store. So this is where she kind of hit that mark, right, that I was talking about before, and she knew that she needed to level up her business, and she needed some external revenue. So she needed external funding to be able to do so. So just at that point that she identified she needed external funding from somewhere, and that somewhere was Futurepreneur's program. She also had a few different sources of revenue coming, sources of funding coming in as well. I think some of her friends and family also input some financing into her business. She also went through another program called Women's Enterprise Center where she got funding from them. So she got funding from a few different places, but she'd identified really early on that she needed this external funding to be able to move her business to that next level. Okay, this is Sashi, another example that I wanted to tell you about, but I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to skip through her. This is Sons of Vancouver, another example that I wanted to tell you about as well. But again, we don't have time. I talk too much. But this is my challenge for everyone in the audience today is I want you to kind of take this idea, take this challenge. And the challenge is, how would you leverage an external $20,000 for your business? Okay. And the challenge is to think of actionable items. So actionable things that you could do to take this $20,000, sorry, and spend it to make your business make money. Maybe it would be about investing some of it into influencer marketing, right? Like we were hearing from Candace earlier. Maybe some of it would be about identifying what it's going to take to level up your business from here on out. Maybe you need to invest in a piece of machinery that's really expensive and that you haven't had money to do so yet. Maybe it's about hiring another staff member to be able to take some time off your plate, and so that you can be pitching bigger contracts if you're a service-based business, and then your staff member might be able to do some of the admin work for you, right? Would that really be able to leverage the $20,000 for your business so that you're able to turn this $20,000 and double it in 6 months? Okay, so that's the challenge. How would you leverage $20,000 for your business to be able to double that $20,000 in 6 months? So you've got a time frame there, right? A 6-month time frame to make $20,000 into $40,000. So how are you going to use this money for your business to make it make money for your business, right? So the challenge is to double that $20,000. So I want you to kind of take that challenge, write it down in a notebook, and think about some of the actionable ways that you could start doing this and leveraging this for your business. Again, with that time frame in mind, so you've got 6 months to be able to double this 20K, and how are you going to do that for your business? I gave you some already interesting examples and things to think about and ways to do that. But if you come up with some really cool ideas, I'd love to chat to you moving forward, because that's what Futurpreneur does. We invest, or we loan out $20,000 or upwards to businesses so that they are able to use that funding to then funnel into their businesses and leverage it so that their businesses get stronger and more successful, and so you can take your business to the next level. So really, really quickly, this is our team at Futurpreneur. This is who you'd be working with if you decided to go through one of our programs. These are my contact details. Welcome, and feel free to reach out. If you wanted to take a screenshot of this, maybe do that now, or I can also pop my email into the chat so you can reach out to me. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen now if I can figure out how. Here we go. And we've got 3 minutes left in this call. I know that's not a whole lot of time, but I wanted to know if you had any questions for leveraging external financing so that you can take your business to the next level. And I did acknowledge that you can get external financing from multiple different sources. It could be through business loans. It could be some savings that you have, personal savings that you have. It could be through external investment into your business. There are multiple different ways and different channels. It could be through a crowdfunding campaign that you run really successfully for your business. There are multiple different ways to generate external income or external investment into your business, external funding into your business. It's not just all about business loans, but that's just what happens at Futurpreneur to be able to offer. But curious if there's any questions in the chat. some great examples. Thank you for the success story. Brooke says, thank you so much, Nikki. 100% agree with your messages. Brooke's from BDC. Candace says, thank you. Appreciate everyone's interaction into the chat today. Thank you so much for being here. There's no questions right now, and that's completely fine. I will pop my email into the chat here, so you can reach out to me if you're curious about anything else. Happy to answer. But thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate your time and for coming to this workshop. There are some fantastic workshops happening for the rest of the day. I really enjoyed the pitches. So congratulations to all the pitchers today who are pitching, and my fingers crossed for you winning one of those amazing packages that are up for grabs for the top pitches today. But I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. I will leave you now and talk to you all soon. Have a great day.